Hello guys, first of all we're going to Samples, XR Interaction, and we're going to open these presets and just add them as presets. So we're gonna add all of them. Okay, and then we're going to add an XR Interaction Manager. We're going to add the XR Interaction Manager component, also the Input Action Manager. Click the plus button, look for the XRI default. Then we are going to add the hands. So inside of the camera offset, you can create empty and call it left hand controller. Also duplicate that and call this one right hand controller. Okay, now I'm going to the left hand controller. I'm adding the XR controller, the action based, and as you can see it already does the inputs, so it's selecting the left hand for all of them. But now when we go to the right hand, click on the XR controller, the action based, we're going to see that it sets the left hand in here. So what we can do is that we can go to Edit, Project Settings, Preset Manager. Here we can filter that to the word right and left. Now if we close that and reset this component, we can see that it switches to the right hand. Okay, now we're going to select both hands and add a few components. First, we're going to add X-ray interactor and then line renderer and also XR Interactor line visual. So we're going to tweak a few things in the line render here. We're going to set the width to 0.02. We're going to set the corner vertices to 4, the end cap vertices to 4. We're going to add a material called default line. We can set this to off, and you can set the order in layer to something like 5. Alright, in the X-ray interactor, we're going to add some haptics, and this haptics is just like a vibration that you get from the controller when you hover or select or trigger some object. So here I'm going to add it to the on select enter. I'm going to set the intensity to something like 0.5, duration 0.3. Also on hover entered, I'm going to have the intensity 0.1, duration 0.1. So this happens when I hover over something, this happens when I select something. Alright, in the last component here in the XR controller, we are missing a model prefab. For now we are going to add a simple spheres. Okay, so right click 3D object sphere. I'm going to rescale this to 0.1. Here in the assets folder, I'm going to create a new folder, call it prefabs, and going to drag the sphere there. Then I'm going to delete this one. In both of the hands, we can go to the model prefab and drag the prefab we've created. Now for the turning with the joystick, we can add first locomotion system, and we can drag the XR to the XR origin there, and also we can add the snap turn provider action based. We have also the continuous, but this one might cause some motion sickness, so I prefer the snap turn provider. And there we can drag the locomotion, and already has the right inputs there. Now our scene doesn't have any grabbable objects, so I'm going to select this helmet, or it's called safety hat here, and I'm going to add the grabbable component, or it's called XR grab interactable. Here in the rigid body, I'm going to select the collision detection to continuous dynamic, so it doesn't fall into the ground. And here we can check the smooth position and the smooth rotation. This way it doesn't look shaky when you hold it in your hand. Also something you can add when you basically interact with this object, like a sound or a particle effect or any of that, here in the interactable events. So if you expand that, I'm going to add a simple sound when I grab this object. I've already downloaded the sound, but first I'm going to add an audio source. I have this mission complete random sound. For the audio source first, I'm going to uncheck play on awake, do the spatial blend to 3D. I'm going to drag the audio source and make it play. Also, I'm going to add a box collider to the helmet so it doesn't fall into the ground. This looks fine. I'm going to have it on the ground so it's easier to pick up. Alright, let's test it out in VR now. Okay, seems like we have a little problem here, that both of the spheres are far away from our hand. But now let's just fix this small thing. Alright, it seems like the sphere has changed its position, so I'm going to reset the position. Alright guys, now as you can see, I've got my two spheres in my hands and everything works fine. Here's the turning and here's the haptics when I hover over something, and also when I try to grab it, I hear the sound I added and I get the vibration I added. So with that, thanks for watching.